Right now, if you get a serious infection, you take antibiotics and live. A few hundred years ago, that same infection would have killed you. Now go back further, before hospitals, before medicine, before the written word. For over 300,000 years, humans had no doctors at all. No pharmacies, no surgery as we know it, no idea that germs even existed. And yet, somehow, our species didn't just survive. It spread across the entire planet. So how did they do it? The answer is a mix of two things. Knowledge far more impressive than you'd expect, and a reality far more brutal. This is how humans survived before medicine existed. Let's start with the impressive part, because it's genuinely stunning. Long before chemistry, humans turned the natural world into a pharmacy. Through thousands of years of trial and error, they learned what plants did. Which ones healed, which ones harmed, which ones eased pain. And some of what they discovered is astonishing in hindsight. Take willow bark. Ancient peoples chewed it to ease pain and bring down fevers. They had no idea why it worked, but we do now. Willow bark contains salicylic acid, the direct chemical basis of aspirin. One of the world's most common modern drugs came from a tree we chewed for millennia. Then there's honey. Ancient healers packed it into open wounds. And modern science confirms honey has real antibacterial properties. It's still sometimes used on wounds in hospitals today. Garlic, too, was used widely, and it genuinely fights bacteria. These weren't lucky guesses. They were patient, observed, tested knowledge, passed down by word of mouth, often by the women who healed their communities. But the most shocking proof of ancient skill isn't a plant, it's surgery. Across the ancient world, humans performed one of the boldest operations imaginable. They drilled holes directly into living human skulls. It's called trepanation, and it may be humanity's oldest surgery. Skulls with these holes have been found all over the world. From Neolithic Europe to ancient Peru, thousands of years apart. Now, here's the detail that stuns archaeologists. In many of these skulls, the bone around the hole had healed. Healed bone means one thing: the patient lived. Sometimes for years. By some estimates, around half of trepanation patients survived the procedure. Think about that. Skull surgery with stone tools and no anesthesia, and roughly half the patients pulled through. It's almost unbelievable. We're still not fully sure why they did it. Maybe to relieve pressure after head injuries, maybe for seizures, or maybe to release the evil spirits they believed caused illness. Which brings us to the other, darker half of the story. Because for all that real knowledge, ancient medicine was also full of guesswork. For most of history, people had no idea what actually caused disease. They couldn't see germs. They didn't know infections spread invisibly. So they reached for the explanations they had: the supernatural. Serious illness was often blamed on demons, curses, or angry gods. Healers were often part physician, part priest, casting spells alongside remedies. And a huge amount of treatment simply didn't work, or made things worse. People died in enormous numbers from things we barely think about today. A cut that got infected could turn deadly. A burst appendix was a death sentence. Childbirth killed countless women. Diseases we now prevent with a simple shot wiped out entire communities. Survival often came down to your body's own immune system and luck. And this leads to a myth worth clearing up. You've probably heard that ancient people died around 30. That number is real, but it's deeply misleading. It's an average life expectancy, and averages can lie. The number was dragged down by a heartbreaking reality. A huge number of babies and young children died. When so many die in infancy, the average age of death plummets. But that doesn't mean adults dropped dead at 30. If you survived those dangerous early years, your odds changed dramatically. Many ancient people who reached adulthood lived into their 60s and 70s. Old age isn't a modern invention. Ancient societies had elders, valued for exactly the knowledge that helped everyone else survive. So, step back. How did a species with no real medicine survive so long? Part of the answer is that individuals often didn't. Many died young. But the species endured because enough people lived to have children. And crucially, humans had a secret weapon: shared knowledge. Every generation passed down what worked, which plants, which practices. A single human is fragile, but a community that remembers is resilient. That accumulated wisdom, passed down over thousands of years, kept us alive. Until, eventually, that same curiosity led somewhere revolutionary. People began to ask not just what worked, but why. And that question became the foundation of modern medicine. And that's the part worth being clear about. It's easy to romanticize ancient, natural medicine, and some of it was brilliant. But the full picture also includes agony, superstition, and constant death. The reason we live longer, healthier lives today isn't a mystery. It's germ theory, sanitation, vaccines, antibiotics, anesthesia. Discoveries that took us from surviving nature to actually understanding it. Ancient humans were resourceful, observant, and astonishingly tough. But they would have given almost anything for what we now take for granted. So the next time you take a pill and feel better by evening, remember the 300,000 years that came before it. Every remedy we have was paid for by someone long ago who suffered without it. The willow tree that became aspirin, the wound that taught us about infection. We survived long enough to become the first humans who could truly heal. And that might be the greatest achievement in our entire story. If you love the real story behind how we became who we are, this is your channel. Subscribe to Fiuzaverse, and let's keep uncovering the history that made us.